Hello, everybody. Today's my day 1.257. It is October. No, it's not. It's January 24th. And got a lot of hospital stuff in my head. And definitely prayers out to Addison, who is in the hospital right now, getting some stuff done. Um, Thoughts are with her. And Addison's beautiful. I mean, beautiful, beautiful. And wish her speedy recovery. And if everything is the way it should be, then Addison's going to go from beautiful to wow, gorgeous, super fragilistic. I can't imagine improving upon perfection. So uh, to say, to have facial feminization done, I mean, she's beautiful before. She's not drop dead gorgeous before. I can't imagine, like I said, improving upon perfection. I don't. And I don't necessarily say that jokingly. I mean, it's beautiful. Okay. So, but yeah, hospitals on the brain. I went over my little sheet here. That's the next 11 weeks. And today really is the first day I've sat down and had time since my own visit to the hospital for a quote, put me on the rack and said they'd adjust my linkage. I haven't really had time to just exist and look at my budget and sit down and think about, booking a hotel room for my mom, looking at her airfare, those little pricey things. We fixate so much on surgery, and justly so. And then once you have a date, you're like, okay, I got to plan this out. Am I going to take the bus? Am I going to take the plane? Am I going to drive up there? How am I going to get there? The logistics of it, in addition to your workplace stuff. I mentioned the other day filing FMLA and all of that. I mean, there's so much paperwork that goes along with it, and definitely paperwork to get to that point. But I've thought a lot about being in the hospital, and I'll be in the hospital for 5 or 6 days myself when after having my surgery, and so I can imagine not necessarily being bored, but not having something to do. And on the one hand, in our lives we get so busy, and to be able to remember in elementary school, you just put your head down. If you were having a bad day or whatnot, the teacher would say, Josephine, Carol, whatever, just put your head down, baby. And in some ways, I think we need that periodically as adults. As adults, we definitely don't get the hugs we used to when we were kids. Friendly hugs. We don't get that. We need that. I think occasionally we need that. Just someone to hold us and say, baby, it's going to be okay. There's always so, emotion. For someone to say, there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can put on your shoulders, so much burden. Now another emotion's coming in. Yay, maybe these shots are worth it. I was joking with my daughter this morning. I'm like, my life is so different now that I'm on injectable. My life is so damn different now that I'm on injectable. Oh, same day, same thing. I do feel like my breasts are my breastplate bra here. I think fits better because I've got some fat back. I lost so much body fat as part of losing weight that it was having a hard time. There's the mast didn't have anything to grab onto, and so now there's a little bit of tissue to batten down the hatches and keep things in order. So, but like I said, a bit of a today's just I got a lot on my mind. I'm definitely concerned about Addison. She's in sending her prayers and positive energy, and also just a bit of a reality check of myself that some 9 weeks from now I'll be well, today's what, Wednesday? Yeah, some 9 weeks from now, I'll be sitting in a hotel room in Indianapolis, having drunk citrus nitrate and pooping and pooping and pooping, and probably playing Yahtzee and Monopoly with my mom and my daughter as we wait, you know, um, for me, the following to try and get a good night's rest, to go to the hospital to have my surgery. You know, I've only had one major surgery in my life. I crashed an airplane into a tree, and being the stubborn person that I was, I climbed the tree to get it, and I fell out of the tree on my way back down. I guess my way back down was the direct route, and I broke my ankle in a couple places and broke my legs. And that was the only time I've been in a hospital for longer than like a day. I've only, knock on wood, I've only been in the hospital, short time. And I think at the time I had a laptop that ran World of Warcraft, and I played World of Warcraft. You think, oh, you're in the hospital, you poor, and there I am, with one hand on the I could flick the switch for morphine, and I'm playing World of Warcraft, and I was just in nirvana for 4 days. The nurses would come, what would you like to eat? Cheeseburgers. It was like gamer cheeseburgers and morphine and World of Warcraft. I mean, you just bliss. And then reality kicked in. And then reality kicked in. Then reality kicked in. And so I've had a little bit of reality, perhaps. Ooh, there's the sun. Bless your heart. Pushing through. Oh, we need the sun so badly. But today also thinking a little bit about paperwork in finances, and then that's the other thing too, is trying to anticipate when the hospital bill is going to come and when is the insurance going to come. There's a bit of a grace period having had insurance, and you have insurance, and you got that month where the hospital's processing the bill. Sorry. Crystal Light, by the way. Crystal Light sweet tea, highly recommend it. But you have that month, and it's like you're just waiting for the bill to come, and I've done what I can to try, and I don't have it yet. I get paid on Friday, and that will be the start of the war chest, that's being electronically set aside so that I can pay, so I can pay what I can. And we just don't know the final figure, and I won't know it, and that in of itself can keep a person from, well, how am I going to pay for it? It all depends. It all depends. It all depends on what the costs of surgical sponges are, the stock price. The surgeons in the morning, they go down to the market, the fresh fish market, and they buy mackerel and cod and surgical sponges, and whatever the market price on surgical sponge and scalpels are that day, that's what you're going to pay, right? I mean, otherwise surgical bills would be the same from state to state, because an appendicitis is appendicitis, right? The other thing, which I thought about too, again, thinking of the idea of the surgery, I think I'm going to have 4 bills, and I always never do this. Again, I've only had one surgery, my knee, but you're going to have the surgeon, their bill. Usually you have the anesthesiologist and their bill. The ER bill may be wrapped up with the hospital stay, but it's one of those things again, and no wonder it's a bit daunting. It's a bit overwhelming to think about the surgery, and to try and do your best to have as much money as you can, and even with insurance. And I was crunching the numbers today. My daughter sprained her ankle last week, and this morning we took her, and this is why I'm sharing this. It's a minute, it's small detail, but yes, you're right. I'm getting just to that point. We took her today. Okay, it was $50 copay to see the facility until they bill my insurance company. Well, let's say that I have to pay the whole amount, which should be a little over $150, $170. Well, let's just for fun say it's $200. That lowers the deductible, the first tier deductible, by $200. Okay, so I've made that $200 quicker, even though I've paid for it off my health savings account now. Okay, so that messes that whole figure I had in March, because I will have met my deductible sooner, which means I'm paying more total balance at 10%, which means it's less. And so that's less cash I have to have on hand then, you know. And so again, we don't know till we get there. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? And if you have insurance, it's like you get this extra free month while the crows, while the vultures circle, and to figure out, who gets what. And again, I know with my surgery, I'm assuming I'm going to hit my maximum out of pocket, and so then they're going to be fighting over who gets what, and so it could very well be 2 to 3 months while this is in limbo, and which is definitely better for me, because every paycheck I get more money from, I deduct more money pre-tax from my paycheck to go into my health savings account. So again, if this is tied up in red tape limbo for 4 months, I could, from that alone, I could come up with $2,000 to $3,000. Just, well, I won't say that. $1,000 to $2,000 that I didn't have previously, just because of the passage of time. And so it does take a lot, and that's where I tried to be like happy, goofy, funny today, and I just didn't have it in me. I was just very well, obviously thinking about Addison, and that got me thinking about hospitals, and that got me thinking about bills, and whatever else. So, and when I took my daughter in today, it was the first time we had been back at her pediatrician in a while, and so it was one of those things. We walked up and they started calling me by my ex-wife's name because they saw a woman in front of them, and I had to remind them who I was, and it was just like, oh, no, I didn't. Hopefully, now I'm getting light. Oh, the sun. I feel like I should be having an epiphany or something. That's what it is. Now, let's we will talk about, how about we talk about epiphany, and then I'll shut up for the day. I was researching Athena, and there's a really cool video about the history of gods, the history of religion, not necessarily religion, but gods, particularly god iconography and graphics. And people up to a certain point in history, if you look at art, gods were depicted either as dragons or serpents. And there are pictures, if you dig, even going back to early Christianity, where Joseph and Mary, there's been carvings made of people at the time who put the head of Joseph and the head of Mary on snake bodies, not because they were trying to call them snakes, but because they were religious, what people at the time assumed in some cultures with being religious or of the spiritual world or of the veneration and whatnot. And it wasn't until they weren't hoarders, not hoarders as in I'm hoarding things, but fighters, fighting hordes of people. it wasn't until the warriors came and kind of established their religious practices that the dragons and snakes got replaced with anthropomorphic, with people. The idea of a god or whatnot as being a person. It was kind of interesting because there were a lot of depictions of Athena, as the serpent, or the serpent having a serpent head or a serpent body, and what became somewhat the idea of what Medusa went into, with the idea of Perseus, beheading Medusa. And from a historical point of view, it was sort of true in that it was the Persians' religion who dealt with the idea of a snake-headed goddess, which Gorgon or Medusa and whatnot. So anyway, I thought it was kind of interesting. But why all this? Why all this? And we lost our sunshine. I'm getting to it. Give me a moment. Okay? We talk about catharsis. But the idea, again, of the snake and the infinity snake, or the snake that eats its own tail. If you go back and you look at Ouroboros and like I said, the lemniscated infinity sign, you'll see that the iconography of the snake eating itself. And I've seen that on many cultures, Norse cultures, on the architecture of the northern the longhouses and whatnot, as well as Chinese depictions of dragons of having their tail in their mouth, like they're eating themselves. But the idea was, from the other end of that, is that they come from themselves. And I've seen several more of a Buddhist thing of, a monk. You see someone thinking in this position, and they're inward looking. Okay, I don't know if I'm doing this the right way. They are looking within themselves, inside of themselves, and they are coming out of themselves into themselves, which is probably not a very clear. I'm probably not doing it justice. But what was ascribed to Athena was, I come from myself. And Jamie had a really good post today about dropping away the false to be who you are authentically. And it reminded me of seeing those images and those pictures of dragons and snakes eating them, coming from themselves. And what Athena said, I came from myself. The idea of creating oneself, hopefully learning from what one has done before, and being who we are. And that kind of comes somewhat into the idea of embolic. I don't want to stretch that too much. But as far as getting rid of the old and making way for the new, and somewhat, and this is a hell of a stretch from where we started, the death of the old to make way of the new. If you believe in reincarnation, or, again, yes, okay. Again, the creation of the self from within. Again, it's kind of cyclic, isn't it? I think it's kind of neat. And the idea of the wheel of the year, obviously, I know for me, if I continue down this path, I'm going to come across embolic again. And as far as purification and, again, getting rid of those old negative practices and the energies of the old to make way for the new, but it's looking from within for that strength and letting that come out. And I don't know, I like that idea. And I realize that's not what we talked about at the beginning. We've definitely gone round robin, as it were, and whatnot. But hell, it's my blog. That's what I'm going to say. So definitely best wishes. And we'll continue to be sending some positive energy, some positive thoughts to Addison. And she has a good friend she's mentioned in her thing. And it's nice to have someone who's there with you to help you out. And I think that is just about it. I'm looking forward to just some downtime. I'm really, if I could complain about anything for a minute, I'd really love a game, like an Xbox game or something. Um, I need a game, something fun to play, you know. But no interest. My interest level has gone down. So I don't know. There's more to life than just contemplating oneself, right? There's drinking. There's drinking. Oh, this weekend is a German beer garden, and I would be there, but I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons in a game. But next month, I will be at the beer garden for sure, and I will be drinking. But yeah, it'd be nice to just let our hair down. I think that's maybe what I'm craving the most today. I've got my daughter situated. I've got things seem to be going forward at their own speed. It would just be nice to take a hot bath and just relax, and maybe I'll do that too. I don't know, later. But anyway, so just some odd ramblings here, and very serious today. Very serious. I didn't want to be serious. I found myself earlier, let me put it this way. I was looking in the mirror and I just was like, I was looking at myself and I was going, how are you doing? You know, asking myself. And almost switched into my other persona, my D&D Karen, and it was like, you wish you could live as simply as that, you know, without the worry, you know, just be. Maybe that is possible. But I like to think Karen, the from my D&D game, is out somewhere playing in a field or something. I don't know. Being an adult is hard sometimes. Well, that goes without saying. All right, I better shut up before I just ramble again. So I will wish everyone a good transition, a good rest of the day, and we will continue. We will march on. We will persist in all of its shapes and forms. So until next time, bye-bye. And good luck.